Has anyone ever called you a chicken? Well, today we'll show you why maybe that's not such a bad thing.
All right, cinephiles. You survived the Untapped Gauntlet, and if you're still with us, it means you're either incredibly dedicated or you haven't found the off switch yet. I'm Harrison.
And I'm John. And speaking of dedication, we just willingly spent an hour trying to make sense of beer names and turn them into movies. It's a real commitment to our madness.
Now get ready, because this is where we go from questionable beer names to even more questionable cinema. We're taking a real beer and turning it into a full-fledged feature film.
This week, we're pouring ourselves a pint of cinematic audacity and crafting an epic based on, drumroll please, Nugget Nectar from Troegs Independent Brewing.
Yes, that's right. You're here first. Nugget Nectar inspired a tale so compelling that, we're still working on that part.
Yeah, get ready for a roller coaster of emotions as we bring you the dramatic saga of what we're calling Nuggets, Gains, Diets, and Destiny.
It's going to be ambitious and possibly a complete train wreck, but hey, we aim to entertain.
We're pretty sure this movie is going to make something like Citizen Kane look like something you filmed on your iPhone, and that's probably not a good thing, but we are committed.
That's right, so put on your director's hat, maybe/definitely grab another brewski, and get ready for the cinematic debut of Nugget Nectar on Beer Me That Movie.
Don't forget to do us a big favor and hit that subscribe button if you're not, but more importantly, let us know what you think of this episode, and if you have any beers you'd like us to riff on turning into a movie, what could they do, Harrison?
Oh my gosh, you could send us feedback. You could DM us on Instagram, call us on SpeakPipe, message us on Untapped, or, send a pigeon our way. Tell us however you want.
And now, John and Harrison present our feature film.
All right, Harrison, so right before we get into Act 1, I always like to get a little premise. If you watched the Fast Five last week, I love you. But if you missed it, this Nugget Nectar, Harrison really took the reins and converted it into what's going to become tonight's feature film. And it's going to be starring Brian.
That's right. Brian's back, baby.
Brian checked in the beer. He sent us the beer check-in, and that's why we featured it in the Fast Five. Brian's for this movie, Brian's girlfriend is going to be named Brenda. There's going to be a doctor. There's going to be some other characters. But before we jump into Act 1, Harrison, can you just tell me a little bit about Brian in this movie? We all love and know Brian on the podcast, but we're just stealing your name. And we're going to do some weird stuff to you, Brian.
That's right. So, as always, apologies in advance. Hopefully you're laughing now. And if you're not now, hopefully you are soon. So, yeah, to kick off kind of Act 1, a little bit of the backstory is probably important. And Brian, we talked about this in the Fast Five, but Brian, well, I think what we're going to do here is, right now where the story starts, he's a gym rat. But he's a gym rat because he was kind of bullied, forgotten. Maybe he started working at the gym, worked his way up, gotten a little bit stronger, and now he's like in deep in the gym rat world.
Yes.
He's already tried bags of needles and pills and, horse
drugs.
Sure, yeah, all kinds of fun drugs, not so fun drugs, drugs that make you big, drugs that make you see a bunch of mushroom people. He's just trying whatever he can.
That's a different kind of workout, but sometimes it works out.
Exercise your mind and your soul and your body.
That's good. You can't spend 15 minutes in like, you go to Planet Fitness, you can eat pizza and chill. But in what's probably a real gym, if you spend 15 minutes there, you're like, all right, I need to get those big pop-up delts. How do I get a tricep that looks like a horseshoe?
Exactly. I think
it's infectious.
Yeah, Brian spent his time at the crappier gyms of the world, but now he's found his place, he thinks, in this gym full of dudes with, no necks or huge necks, muscles on muscles, comically large, and he's making gains and things are going pretty well, but he starts to plateau. As we talked about in the Fast Five, that happens in life, in the gym. Not in the bedroom for me, but that's a different podcast. We just finished those. It's a steep hill, and I'm stuck at the bottom. So he's so where we kind of meet Brian and where the story picks up is he's plateauing. Like he's not seeing those gains. He's what happened today, Brian? Usually 10 sets are no problem, but a little sweaty there after 9. He's getting ribbed a little bit maybe by the guys in the gym who are, again, just huge, mostly neck and thighs is what I'm imagining. Just giant tube-looking people.
Like if you were drawing a person, but you could only draw squares.
Right. Just a Minecraft person, but giant. And... yeah, so these are Brian's friends, and he's just having some trouble in the gym, which is tough to admit, and maybe it kind of quickly, progressively gets worse. He's feeling dejected. He's getting in his own head. Now people are laughing at him at the gym.
Tough place.
It's right. It's a rough crowd.
The gym is not a place to have or even talk to anyone, really.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You just go to the gym, you get your gains, and you come home, and you go back later.
I agree. You lift heavy stuff, you put it back down, then you leave. Don't go in the group shower. It may sound fun. It's not. You'll get warts on your feet.
So, aside from always wear flip-flops in the gym, anywhere you are in the gym.
Yes.
Brian's got a girlfriend, right? Someone that kind of looks after him a little bit.
Yeah, I think we're going to introduce this. Didn't come in the Fast Five, but it's good to have, some opposing forces and things like that, or a guardian angel or a mixture maybe, which I think is what his girlfriend's going to become, and her name is going to be Brenda, as John mentioned.
Double B's.
The double B's, or B's all the way down tonight. And I'm seeing her kind of as, she's probably burned out on Brian constantly talking about, like, I got whale protein's the new thing. And if I eat all this stuff that's eviscerated cow bladders, I'm going to get the size of a house.
Go to GNC and the Asian Food Mart every day.
That's right.
To get the right gain fuel.
He's just grinding up, horseshoe crabs and doing all kinds of weird things. And she's probably sick of it, but she loves Brian. She knew him before all this stuff. She's a health nut herself.
Nice. I was gonna say, Brenda's a good match for Brian.
Exactly right. He'll always take it to the edge, and she'll just try to bring him back to some kale salads or some, green juices.
Fruits and vegetables
whatever,
have been pretty good for people to eat.
Fiber, the amount of protein you're having, you're either going to sweat all your poop out, or it's not going to leave your body unless you have some fiber.
Once a month, I make the dirt.
So he looks healthy on the outside, but the inside of Brian is a mess. And so, yeah, so Brenda's here as a shoulder to cry on at this moment because he's feeling dejected by this home away from home, this gym. But again, a gym's not a place to make friends. Brian's learning that again the hard way. And so I think kind of what sets him off on this journey to Nugget Nectar land as he decides to leave this gym, and he's kind of a man without a country and looking for his next place to get those gains and maybe find an angle he hasn't thought of yet to get off his plateau.
So that'll begin our Act 1.
Okay.
Grab your popcorn. It's time for Act 1.
But Act 1 begins. I like that. Brian, we know who Brian is. He's got some gains. He's no longer scrawny Brian, man.
Yeah.
But now he needs to find a new way to grow.
Yes, a new way to grow. Not socially or mentally, but just gains.
Just gains.
It's all about gains.
Just gains, man. Just gains, bro.
It.
He's he's not afraid of using substances to do that. Like when I was in my gym years, it was like Ripped Fuel and creatine and Andro, whatever the hell Mark McGuire was using to home runs. Like
that stuff's great.
You're just dropping like $300-400 at GNC so that you feel like you'll get one extra rep in.
Right, and now they put that stuff in kids' cereals, so it's a whole new game now at the gym. And Brian's looking for that next edge, the cutting edge, whatever. So yeah, he's kind of open to a lot of things, which could make him a mark for people who are maybe looking to make a quick buck selling,
anybody selling anything in GNC. Yeah,
eat these eels. Okay.
I got all this corn husk after corn season. We should grind that up and sell it as corn husk powder for weightlifters.
That's it. It's crazy enough it could work. Okay, I love this. So he's a bit right. So we're kicking this thing off with him on this journey, finding a new home, and I'm kind of imagining him encountering, I won't say a sexy nun yet, but some kind of mysterious, some kind of Nick Nolte type character. Right, he has his own banana whale, his own back alley kitty at home, but he needs a guide. He needs a Gandalf of sorts to kind of pull him off the streets. He's there, it's cold, it's rainy. One of those scenes where he's out of the gym and it's bright and warm in the gym and they're just laughing him out the door, and he tries to pull his shirt over his head in the rain, but it's a sleeveless shirt, so it's basically not much of a shirt at all. And he just is down in the dumps, and I'm almost imagining like he's stumbling down the street, looks down an alley he hasn't seen before, and like a distant neon light is flickering that says something that draws him like a moth.
It's so back in my gym days.
We're gonna hear a lot about John's gym days. I gymmed for about 10 years of my life. Yeah.
And fine, it was good.
Right.
There's days where I wish I would have continued.
Yeah.
There's one day when I was going to every day I would go to the gym before work, and some days I would go to the gym after work. That's what you do. It's your religion at that point. And I was going to the gym after work, and it was either Thanksgiving or Christmas Eve or something.
Oh, wow.
So I got to the gym, and it was like 20 minutes. They had closed it early, or I missed it. The gym was closed. So here I am in this snowy Buffalo parking lot of the gym, and I'm running suicides in the parking lot because I'm like, I already took my pre-workout.
I gotta get this out of my body.
I have to do it. And there was a fucking restaurant like right across the way. I think it was like a China King Chinese buffet or whatever. And God bless them, they were open. Now in my life, that's my gym.
Yes.
But at that time, I was like, man, if there was just another gym that was open.
Yeah.
And on my way home, there's a little boxing gym. Like every neighborhood's got their own little boxing gym that's open. Everyone that's a member has a key, and it's seemingly just a place where you go punch bags.
Yep.
I think that'd be a perfect thing for Brian his gym closed up. He didn't get his gains. He feels like shit walking out of the gym. Still high on ripped fuel and stuff.
He could just be doing suicides in the alley, and then he like trips over, someone's C4 workout shake that's fell out of the garbage and slips and looks down, around the corner where he's never seen it before, and there's that flickering light that just says like boxing gym or whatever.
Yes, it's a boxing gym.
It's called boxing gym.
It's a gym.
It may have a name.
A little different.
That part of the light burned out long ago. It just says boxing gym.
Boxing gym. That's technically a gym, right? It appeals to Brian. This could be a new. Maybe they have different techniques that I could use to get different definitions.
Right. Maybe there's some of that illegal protein powder they outlawed from China.
Of course,
maybe it's hiding in a locker in there. He's gonna sniff it out.
What kind of juice you guys got? So
right.
I think he just decides of his own volition.
Yeah.
I gotta go check this out. They might have. I mean, if you're learning karate, you're probably gonna eventually discover kung fu, and you're gonna be like, well, let me check that out. You're gonna mix them together, and then you're gonna become Bruce Lee.
That's right.
So worked for him. It's gonna work for Brian.
I love this. Again, open to everything. Sweet little Brian.
For gains.
It's all about the gains. Maybe Brenda's worried sick. He's out in the cold, kicked out of the gym. Brian's thinking about that.
And he's wearing a hoodie, and he's got like the shortest possible jogging pants, cut off shorts.
It's basically a thick belt made out of sweatpants. And so Brian's bulging, walking around, and gets into this gym. So he's in I'm imagining kind of like, oh man, he opens this door, maybe expecting a bustling gym or at least a few people, and it's almost like deserted in there, maybe dust on some of the bags, a few flickering lights, right. It's super drafty.
Yes.
The windows don't have glass. They just have They're boarded up with wood for some reason.
It's not a solid sheet of plywood. It's just scrap pieces of wood.
Exactly.
Taped up in a window frame.
Right.
No light coming in here outside of the 2 incandescent light bulbs that are hanging somehow up in the ceiling.
That's right. Exactly.
And it's more like a mausoleum than the gym that Brian knows. Like no boxing gym pays rent. They're all bought and paid for by some former champion that set up a boxing gym in his hometown.
That's a good call.
And there's a guy that's running it 100% of the time.
Yes.
It's first or second generation immigrant that's owning and running the boxing gym.
100%.
He's angry at you for walking in. He's angry about asking for memberships. He's angry that you're not already hitting the bags.
That's right. That's right. I love this guy. I can see him. He just looks like the guy from Rocky, but so let him look like that for you too. What should his name be? So he's kind of so Brian walks in, doesn't see anybody, and then this kind of character shuffles out of the darkness as a bunch of rats run away from him, and he says something like, "Hey, finally decided to leave that fancy padded dumbbell palace you were in, huh? Trying to go where the real trainers are."
Who the hell are you? Is this your place?
Me. I'm the one who trains Slippery Slim Sammy and Bob the Turtle Tavington.
I think I heard of Bob Tavington.
Of course you did. Everyone did. Everyone was terrified of Bob. Take your head off. Well, I called him the turtle. Take that off. Right. Oh my God, is this your place? So Brian's like, a little overwhelmed with the environment of this tiny little man who, what do you call him, John?
So this he's Irish. We're falling into the boxing stereotype. His name is Tarvish O'Houlihan.
Tarvish O'Houlihan.
Yep, from Shannon, Ireland.
Perfect. All right, good. So we have an accent here that I won't do well, but John will.
No, I probably won't either.
Well, we'll see what happens.
There's gonna be a lot of crikeys in there somehow.
That's fine.
Haggis. When I was eating potatoes, we always had potatoes, except for one long period where we couldn't figure out the potatoes. Lots of people died. Right. I came to America and I started training.
There we go.
The old what was the name? Bob the Turtle Tavington. Yeah. I got hit in the head so many times I damn near can't remember the day.
They've all blurred together. I may have trained 10, I may have trained 1. Yes, perfect. All right, great. So Brian meets O'Houlihan, and just like you said, hit the bags. So Brian's in there like, all right, thank God I've got so much C4 in my body.
Yeah,
I need to get this out. Blasting through bags, and maybe O'Houlihan takes a leg to him right away. Maybe realizes he's got some skill, or at least the tools needed to be the next Slippery Slim Sammy.
Tarvish isn't afraid of molding clay. You just need to make sure that you're hitting those bags. Now, does Brian want to be a boxer? No, he probably says, he's like, look, man, I'm not trying to be a boxer. I want to get jacked. I'm trying to get swole.
Right.
Do my games. Do you have an Olympic bar? Where's your deadlift set up?
Right. I like this. And I'm imagining O'Houlihan kind of just lets out a little laugh. However,
we don't be dumbbelling in here, you wee lad.
Right. It's not the weights that are the gains. It's what you put in your mouth hole. I don't know why he calls it that.
I don't eat potatoes, man. They're too carb heavy.
Right. Not potatoes, the nuggets. And so this is where and Brian's like, the nuggets? What are you, nuggets of what? What weird kind of Irish? No, the nuggets that are here. Your nuggets. And he's like, what are you talking about?
You pedophile?
Right. It's like, what does nugget mean in Ireland? What are you saying to me right now? But he's, of course, as we all probably know by now, hopefully if you've watched the Fast Five last week, but again, if not, that's fine. So this is going to be like O'Houlihan's whole plan, or his hack. That's a Slippery Sam and Bob the Turtle was so quick, even though his name was the
Bob
Turtle.
Tavington. I almost am picturing where he's transformed into Al Pacino.
Okay, there we go.
And he's got this whole, think like the crazy people boards with the red lines connecting everything, but it's chemicals. And he's like, look, there was a time when everyone used a horse, and now we drive around in these electric automobiles. Technology is the way to the future. If you want gains, you need technology in your fuel, which is why I use the Nugget.
That's right. And he grabs the C4 out of Brian's hand and throws it on the ground, and he goes, "It's foolish. This is nothing." I don't know why he's going to be Russian. He's Al Pacino. He was Irish. It doesn't matter. Hey, you talking to me? Hey, listen to me. If he's going to be Al, we can get Al. We can get Al in here. Listen to me. It's all about the Nuggets. Hey, the Nuggets are all that matters. And then he fades into the shadows or something. So Brian's having a confusing night. His heart's beating out of his chest, though.
Your microwave. Ding.
Because of the damn C4. Left with kind of this mystery. And then O'Houlihan's like, "Come back tomorrow. We'll talk more." And so he's planted this small, weird seed in Brian's head. And I imagine kind of he goes home, Brenda, they have a talk, whatever. And he's just laying all night in his bed. Brian is kind of like, "What was that guy talking about? The Nuggets? I got to go back tomorrow." And I think he does. Goes back, hitting the bag. O'Houlihan's there. And Brian's trying to like find a way to bring up and clarify a little bit about like, what did he mean by nuggets? Like, what the hell is this? And he spills, as you were saying, like all the details about like the nuggets, the fuel. It's got the chickens, the best anabolic steroids in the land are in the chickens.
It's perfected. It's nature perfected. He's Tarvish, the scientist boxing coach, is explaining to Brian that, look, you just follow the chicken, okay? Follow the lines.
Okay.
Go back to where the chicken comes from, right? This is an industrial food nation.
Think about it.
We grow our chicken in factories. Think about it. Hey, we grow the chicken in a chicken factory. It eats the chicken feed and makes it grow really fast, and it's full of these hormones and
that's what you need. You need the chicken hormones that make you bigger than you've ever been.
I don't think chicken nuggets are the thing you want. I got to go back to my gym. I got to do my supersets.
Right. And maybe anywhere, I like this. He walks out. Maybe he's like, "This is enough. This guy's trying to tell me chicken nuggets are going to change my life. This is ridiculous. I got Monster Energy. I got a bunch of ground up eels in my backpack. I got to eat before they go bad.
Yeah.
I'm on the cutting edge. This old bag, he knows nothing about potatoes or nuggets or nothing."
Chicken nuggets haven't been the food of the future since my dad was a kid.
Right, exactly. This dream died the same time we came off the gold standard. This doesn't mean anything to anyone anymore. So he's walking away.
Fiat currency, fiat chicken.
Yes, he's walking away from O'Houlihan. But I think as he approaches his old gym, though, he just sees all the guys in there laughing at each other. Someone else has worked into the set where he usually is. It's one of those sad scenes in a movie where you're like looking in the window, watching your family have a good time without you. And you're like, "God, I'm no one. I'm nothing." So he can't go back there. He doesn't know if he wants to go back to the gym or not. And maybe he just goes home. But now the curiosity bug, he's been bit for sure. Day one,
chicken bite.
He's been bit by the nugget. He's got the nugget fever. He just doesn't know it yet. And I think goes home. He thinks about telling Brenda about it. Doesn't. She has her kale salad, goes to bed early because she's not eating enough protein and she's tired all the time. And Brian's just up, nothing to do. And
he's on the computer.
Exactly. He just jumps on good old Google. And at first, he just Googles chicken nuggets, best protein source. Nothing's coming up, except for maybe one link to an old message board. And he spends the next like 3 or 4 hours diving through old workout forums and
like grainy pictures of giant dudes with mustaches and weightlifting belts.
That's right.
And you see like, is that a 6-piece behind him?
Is that an old McDonald's they're working out behind?
Interstitched with like Proud Boys meeting this Thursday. And like,
where am I?
The government's watching you through your microphones in the microwaves. Okay, weird message board, but there's things happening here.
Interesting here that O'Houlihan was talking about. And so maybe he gets a little more clarity here on this ridiculous blog as he's diving deep into it about like chicken nuggets. They got the perfect mixture of anabolic steroids and hormones and antibiotics and protein and carbohydrates. And like, the first time the army tried the crazy, super soldier drug was on chickens, and chickens have forever been like this perfect petri dish to try out. What can we grow bigger and stronger faster?
There's a picture of a chicken holding up like a 20-pound dumbbell in the army study,
right,
which was co-written by like Patty O'Houlihan.
Oh, there we go. And a bunch of comments like, this has got to be fake, right? Well, no one's ever proved otherwise. So it's one of those Bigfoot type photos. And so Brian's like in now, and he's like, my God, was O'Houlihan right? Is this, he's seen enough to be like, well, I got to try. I mean, I'm eating eels out of a bag, ground up dinosaur teeth. Like, I'm spending thousands of dollars and all this crazy stuff from the other side of the world.
No one's genetic engineering these eels. These are natural. It starts to make sense.
Right. That's why it's not happening. These came right from the ocean. I eat super eels.
Our industrial chickens grow 5 times faster than regular chickens.
That's right.
Light bulb moment.
They're pumping them full of the good stuff, and I'm just not getting it into me fast enough.
There's a grainy photo of some, just like a leg. It's a leg, but it's like as thick as a tree trunk, and it just says in the post is from Bare Knuckles Tarvish. And it says like, tried eating straight chicken growth hormone, and it's just like, right. It looks like a photo from like Soviet Russia.
Exactly. Chernobyl diaries. Yes. I love it. So he's stumbling upon a lot of things. Many of it may have been posted by Darvish O'Houlihan. We'll never know. The light bulb's gone off in his head. So I imagine he probably starts small-ish down this path as Brian is like, let's try some nuggets, but it's going to get quick for him because he just doesn't mess around. He's about the gains. So what does he do next? Is he going to just start like eating nuggets by the truckload, or does he start with like a 6-piece, a 10-piece, a 20-piece?
I mean, knowing what I know about gym culture,
right?
You're not going to start with a 6-piece. If you're dipping your toe in, you're getting all wet anyways. So I don't know.
Or backed him up and on the backside.
I don't know how that works, but if you're in for a penny, you're in for a pound.
There we go.
So Brian's going to the gym. He stops and he grabs a 20-piece nugget family box.
And how about this to add to it, to give him a little more guidance? What if one of the posts he sees is like, to get 2 20 pieces, you're going to feel crappy at number 19 and feel like nothing's happening at 25, but around 35, that's where the magic begins.
It's like breaking the wall. Yeah, it's like
it's the runner's high.
Yeah,
it's just happening.
There's a moment where you're gonna feel resistance, and only the real guy. You need to want the gains bad enough to push through.
Side note: I went to a White Castle once, and they used to sell briefcases of their slider. I think they maybe still do.
I want one now.
It was a challenge amongst our friends to try to eat a whole case of White Castle burgers.
Wow!
And if you don't know, White Castle burgers is slider, meat, and onions and cheese, and that's it. And it's tiny. And I got about halfway through the box, John, and started seeing things. I could feel the room breathing. I had to go sit in the bathroom and just kind of calm down from probably all the sodium just going right into my heart.
My heart's doing 1,000 RPMs faster than it should right now.
But I was with one other buddy of mine. I think it was 30 sliders in it, maybe 20. We made it to a little more than halfway, and both were like, well, I want to die. Let's go drive. And we had to drive an hour and a half to go to one. So that's things you do when you're 20. But anyway, so Brian's on a similar journey, though.
I love that post. Like, here's what you need to do. You need to do 40, and it walks him through it.
You got to get there.
Okay, I'm going to get 20. Are you sure we're doing a buy one get? Okay, fine. Yeah, let me do the 40 nuggets. And he's in his car, and he's hitting that halfway wall. Where he's like, this is fucking stupid.
Right. He's doubting himself, doubting the nugget.
He gets an alert, new message on the message board. Bare Knuckles McTavish. Nuggets are real. Okay, fine. Let me just try this for a day. We'll see what. and he pounds through no sauce because that'd be sugar,
Right.
which is not good.
Mess up the matrix of all the stuff. Yes, we don't need sauce.
And it gets dry, right? Like I want 40 nuggets so
right.
bad right
Yes,
now.
you need
I
a
can't
Dr.
even
Pepper to wash
explain to
that
you
down.
how much I want to just leave this podcast and go to McDonald's and then White Castle. But so Brian pushes through, and I think there's a feeling of bloat, and it is kind of like he gets to the gym feeling sluggish.
Yeah.
But this is Beer Me That Movie, so tell me what happens when he gets to the bar.
The bar, right? So I think he's feeling what he thinks is bloated, slowed down a bit. But maybe there's a twinkle in his brain, a little tickling. Is it the sodium? Is it the nugget? And I think, he gets into the gym and maybe starts out a bit slow. Maybe he goes back to O'Houlihan's and he's in there. Oh, okay, you decided to come back. Hey, you decided to come back.
Yes.
Hey, you decided to come back. Hey, Brian. Yes.
That's pretty good, Pacino.
Yes, O'Houlihan. I did. I tried what you said, and nothing's happening.
I'm on 40 nuggets right now, and all I feel is sweat.
And he goes, oh, you did the 40. You made it. Come over here to the big bag. Start hitting. And Brian starts smacking, and and he's breathing. You feeling his heart smacking deep in his chest.
Boy, hit.
Hit again. Don't stop. Hit again. Hit again. Hey, hit again. Again. And so Brian's laying in his bag. He's sweating quicker than he usually is because of all the nugget in his
pouring salt chicken
He
sweat.
just smells like a deep fryer. And O'Houlihan inhales that deeply. Yes, it's working. Keep hitting. And then something happens. A switch in Brian's brain. He gets to
Perhaps chemical.
Right, definitely chemical. Maybe metaphysical. We'll figure all this out. It doesn't matter how it's happening or why, but he kind of feels like he was a sluggish kind of guy stuck in cement. Now he feels like a freight train, like a steam engine, like a locomotive. He's powering faster and faster. It's like he's not even trying. And then he starts to see his arms start to blend and blur, and the bag just vibrating, and the ceiling it's attached to is vibrating, and the whole building's vibrating. And then he hits it with a left hook, and the bag blasts off the chains into the wall. And Tarvis just goes, "You're doing it! You're seeing it! It's happening! The nuggets are within you!
Has happened since Turtle Tavington."
And the lights flicker.
What happened to Turtle Tavington? He killed 2 people in the ring. They took his license
He's in jail
away.
now.
Yeah.
But so Brian has this moment where he harnesses the nugget on the heavy bag, and he believes he's seen the other side, John. He's seen the power of the nugget. His muscles are bulging, his veins. He's got veins on veins.
And it
now.
lasts longer than the pre-workout and the eel.
It gets stronger
powder.
as he keeps working out. It doesn't wear off.
Exactly. I need the weights now. I need the weights, Tarvish. I don't have. I forgot what Tarvish sounds like. I don't have the weights, wee lad. We're not a dumbbell gym.
Right.
But if you want to keep it going, like he shows him the science again. He's like, look, it's fuel, right?
Right.
You start a fuel with gasoline, it burns hot and quick. That's your stupid eel powder. This is now we're burning the whole world is on fire. Go get your gains. and Brian heads back to his original gym, sees the old set group working, just pushes the door open. He's brimming with confidence and chicken nugget salt. And goes to the deadlift bar right away.
Yep.
Starts throwing on stacks of the 45-pound weights.
They come out to stop him. Too much. It's too much.
Exactly. Like
you're crazy.
The guys who are on the chest press stop. They're just watching. Like, this guy's here on a suicide mission. He's like, I can't believe Brian's finally cracked. He's gonna kill himself in the deadlift. Gets up to like 900 pounds and just brings it down. Pops it right back up. Oh my God. Then he starts doing it like he's twerking with it.
Yes.
He's like, I found the power.
Feel
He's
it.
bulging.
Yes, he's getting larger by the second. It feels like, it looks like, and it's terrifying. And then he probably just throws the weights down, dents the ground with it, and maybe spits at his old friends. I don't need you anyway. I found something better.
I found the power.
Something you can't handle. He's also speaking slightly like Pacino now. It's a side effect of all the nuggets. You start, your vocal cords get so large you can barely articulate. Found a power. The power inside. And then walks through a wall and leaves.
I've consumed the life force of 47 chickens today.
What the hell? What was that about? Right, so leaving everyone in the gym shocked, and maybe a Houlihan's, standing in the parking lot smiling, laughing. Turtle Tim or Turtle Bob would be proud.
Slippery Slim. I can't remember who. I just picture Randy Savage when you said his name.
Yep.
But so this is Act 1. We've learned who Brian is. We've learned what his goals are, and we've learned that chicken nuggets might be the way there. We're going to take a break, and we're going to come back with Act 2, which is kind of the advancement of this chicken journey.
Yeah, what happens next?
This nugget-fueled frenzy.
And the plot thickens. Act 2.
So Brian's juiced off chicken nuggets. He's nectared.
Right.
And I think...
Let's talk about that for a second, because I think to take a quick science break, well, not whatever, he's, as we said, he's eating, there's no science.
I'll put that in the YouTube description in whatever time frame this is, science break.
Science break. So we've kind of explained 40 seems to be the magic number for nuggets. It lasts longer than any other source of protein and power he's found, but it still doesn't last forever. So of course he's got to keep eating nuggets. And so I think what kind of needs to happen next is he's like going from 40 to 60 to 80.
Exactly.
He's
We need more gains.
Each time he goes back to a Houlihan's gym, he's breaking more bags off the wall.
These chicken nuggets are basically cocaine now.
Exactly.
Like, if one bump is good, 50 bumps is great.
Sleep. I don't have time to sleep. I got to keep breaking bags off the ceiling. This poor old man's gym.
Tarvish is pumped.
Right. Well, I think he's super excited. He's got starry eyes. Maybe he has his next, Bob the turtle, whatever. But then I think maybe he hits a point where he's eating 100 nuggets every time Brian sits down to eat. That and maybe punch one, the bag flies off the wall. That Houlihan's kind of like, how many nuggets are you doing? And
today like, I did 5 20 pieces.
Five
dry. I did them dry, Tarvish. I don't do any sauce.
5's too many. 5's too much. You got to be careful with this stuff. It'll get in you and it won't let you stop. And maybe he tries to offer a word of warning. And it's the first time Brian heard. Brian's elated. Brian's on cloud 9.
Yeah, no one ever told me to stop taking rip fuel.
Exactly. The gains are happening. He's the scariest guy in town. Everyone at the old gym's terrified of him. Brenda is also terrified of him, but supportive.
Honey, maybe you could try some kale with your chicken nuggets. Maybe you should have some vegetables.
It'll mess up the ratio. It's all about the ratio.
I'm in sequence. I'm in sequence, and I'm doing my gains.
Can't cycle out right now. It'll kill me. So the point is, Brian's kind of getting pretty deep in this, and maybe
he's got a stack of sleep nuggets next to on the nightstand where it's just like during his sleep he's like grabbing 2 or 3 of them.
Brenda keeps waking up. What is that?
It's pre-workout. Shut up.
Oh my God, Brenda, you eating your sleep? Rub my throat. Help it go down. Help it go down.
Push it down my throat.
Brenda, do you love me or not? He's taking up 85% of the bed. She's got her head on the bedside table.
He's got like a ripped off boat oar. Shove this in my mouth to make him go in.
This keeps getting bigger every night.
I need my gain sleep.
And just their whole house smells like fry oil. And so, all right, so Brian's in the deep end, and probably now things are getting dangerous. He's humongous. He's 4 times the size he was before, easily, just because of these nuggets. But now people are starting to push back a little bit. But Brian's like, I found the source. I found the Ark of the Covenant, the Holy Grail. Like, this is it. But maybe. If we could add a little bit of realism here, it's kind of slowing him down. He's like, right, I'm eating these nuggets. It's taken forever to throw them into my face to get where I need to be. How can I get them into me faster?
True, he's wasting calories just chewing
There you
and
go.
swallowing, which is why he has the boat or to just shove him down his stomach.
Maybe he hits another plateau. He's kind of getting crazy and knocking bags off the wall.
Tarvish, is there a nugget plateau?
Right,
You've gone too far, kid.
Plateau. You're at the end. Yeah. There is no end. The nuggets can go forever. And so Brian kind of concocts this plan, after watching some infomercial for like a Vitamix or whatever.
Popeil, the mega mixer. It'll liquefy anything you stick in there. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, he's just up shoving nuggets, and Brenda's rubbing his back and throat and stomach while he's up with his nugget ore, just firing him down.
Shoving him down.
And like,
I can't waste any energy unless it's for gains.
That's it. If I'm either eating or punching the bag. And so sees this infomercial, another light bulb happens. I just got to get it into me faster. If I can burn less calories eating them, then I got more calories to burn on the bag.
Love this.
And so he does it. He starts throwing all these nuggets into the blender. He's blending them up. And this is when it happens, John. The first batch of Nugget Nectar is made.
Act 2, Nugget Nectar created. So we've got our first new invention in this movie the world has never seen before, Nugget Nectar. And this is part of Brian's evolution.
Oh yeah.
He's discovered the perfect source for gains, and now he's adapted a more efficient way to put that source in his body.
Yep, it's not wrong.
And I think there's then he starts getting into the science. He's a little Tarvishy himself, where he's like, okay, I now that I'm doing this, I need more nugs.
Yep.
So he's like going straight to the wholesale food market, and he's like, I need 50 pounds of your cheapest nuggets, preferably imported from a third world country. I need the raw hormones in these chickens, like no FDA regulations. Give me the nuggets that any restaurant is afraid to put on their menu.
Right, I want them
gladly. Yes, these are all the rejected nuggets. They're from Soviet Russia.
They might be mostly bone, but we'll sell them to you by the truckload.
Perfect. So he's got his Ron Popeil Mega Mixer 3000, just churning out Nugget Nectar. There's probably a cool montage here where the chickens go in, it runs through a sieve. Yep. And he's experimenting with like tinctures and how can I extract, so now when I'm drinking I'm getting like 3x the nugget, so I'm drinking 100 worth of nuggets, but it's hitting me like 300 nugget power.
Right, but I think just by it being liquefied, it just enters his blood quicker. Right, you're right. Maybe he is like, right, put a little more salt in here, more fat. It can hit my system, hit my blood right away. I love this. So he's becoming this crazy mad scientist and maybe like during this is good. Maybe Brenda comes down one morning after she, finally got some sleep because she's not throwing nuggets in Brian's mouth all night, to see him in the kitchen, kind of hunched over a bit, like bulbously bulging weird muscles out of his shirt as he's, putting things in beakers and blending chicken nuggets and trying to add more things to it to make it more effective. And she's like, Brian, what are you doing? Like, this is going too far. Like your muscles, they don't look big. They look strange. There's something about this that just doesn't feel right. No kidding, Brenda. Like this is so she's also, and obviously he trusts her.
He shits his pants, but it's a mixture of shit and piss that comes out.
Right, and that's a big red flag for Brenda, where she's like, God, this doesn't smell like when you normally shit your pants. It smells like you also pissed your pants. Brian's like, God,
are you peeing and pooping out of the same hole? Brian, that's what chickens do.
Brian, what was that? It was nothing. I was clearing my throat. I'm sorry. I know that's a side effect of the nuggets. I read about it in the message boards. I can sometimes shit my pants. I'll get some Depends. Don't worry about it. I'm sorry. But just please leave me alone. I'm so close to finding the perfect mixture. And he goes back to his blending. Covered in poop and pee. He's dedicated.
But I mean, the ends justify the means so many times. Like it's never enough, whether you're going to the gym for gains or or if you're the last diver in the world in Back Alley Kidding and you need to hit your 50th or 100th woman of the year, or what richness, whatever you want to, it's never enough.
Right. Yes, never be satisfied.
Is Brenda's a good old ball and chain for Brian. How is she, like, she's seen him maximize gains, like, to an unhumanly level. And he's pooping and peeing his pants
in their own kitchen. That's probably the line for her, right? Where but she comes from a place of she's worried. She loves Brian. How can I help? She does her own message board deep dives and finds like wives of men who have gone down the Nuggets path or whatever. Men who are
chicken wives,
gains and Nuggets
Coop
anonymous.
Wives.
Coop wives. And so she's found her own community online who are like, again and again, keep referring to my husband is too much. It was 10 nuggets, 20 a day. He was making me rub his neck while he was falling asleep just to get the nuggets down. And she's like, oh my God, I'm close. I'm close to finding the answer. This is what I went through. And this name keeps coming up. This doctor, John, Dr. Cluckvington Smirnoff the Fifth. Perfect. Dr. Cluck. But everyone calls him Dr. Cluck, of course. He's the one. He's the one who could help me. I took my husband to Dr. Cluck, and 3 weeks later, I had my husband back. I had our lives back, our children.
That's what you want in this scenario.
That's right. So Brenda sees all this, sees a shimmer of hope, looks up Dr. Cluck. He's not online. Maybe he's in the back of an old phone book. She has to go to the library
He's in the records as a chiropractor.
Chiropractor and other things.
Expert in avian anabolism.
Right. She finds an old listing somewhere that actually mentions that. And she's like, my God, this must be him.
Are you licensed?
Exactly.
Well, I'm a chiropractor.
Like, when you're licensed once, you're licensed forever, right?
Any
as
field.
far as you know. I like that. And so Brenda probably goes to meet this guy, and he's, in an old dusty office. Maybe he's renting it.
Strip mall, doctor office. Just says doctor office.
Exactly. And that's all. No
He's got
lights.
A clearly photoshopped University of Phoenix doctor of doctoring.
Doctoring on the wall that's covered in dust. And he's just shuffling through papers, and maybe he has an assistant who scurries away as Brenda gets in there, and she's like, "Are you Dr. Cluck?" Yes. Well, to Dr. Cluck. You said Clucking Van Schmiernoff.
Officially on his diploma, it's Dr. Cluckington Schmirnoff Van Schlapteren the Fourth.
So he sounds like he's from Lagerstein.
Exactly. Yeah, he comes from the same area that. What the hell was that creature?
Cone Goblin.
Yes. He comes from Cone Goblin Land.
Cone Goblin Land. So he's seen some shit. I like this. So we can have fun with Dr. Cluck. And he just, I see. Maybe your husband is also with the Nugget. Yes. I think that's what you think. I know what you mean. It said with the Nuggets. It's
probably maybe English isn't your first language. No, in Lagestan, we speak English as number one. Okay. Yes, my husband is with Nugget. I was just hoping you could say he pooped and he peed at the same time.
So he already is showing the cloaca.
What do you mean he's developing a cloaca?
Yes.
Is this from the chicken nuggeting?
There is still time, but not much left. You must take me to see him now.
But I mean, are you a real doctor?
There's no time for that. Yes, in Lagerstein, I am a real doctor. And here.
Okay, I get, like, she probably has a moment of consideration. Looks at her phone, sees her background picture of back when Brian was regular old Brian that wanted gains, and realizes this is what she needs.
Looks like a human.
Okay, Dr. Cluck, if you're willing to come with me, I didn't know doctors did house calls, but yeah, I'll take you too, Brian. He's currently making his Nugget Nectar right now.
His Nugget? What?
Yeah, he does this thing where, we bought the Ron Popeil infomercial blender, and he's been blending the nuggets so he can eat them more efficiently.
He is juicing the nuggets. My God, almost no time left. We must go quickly.
Oh my God, quick, get in my get in my Honda hatchback Civic. I'll take you to him. Poor Brenda, her regular job, she's just a social worker,
Right.
By contract, so she gets paid nothing to help other people find solutions to their problems, which is why she's able to stick with Brian.
Yes, she
he's
knows
an endless series of problems.
Yes, she gets it. I love this. And so Brian's, I imagine at this point, probably still in the kitchen, maybe coming back from the gym, even bigger than before, bulbousier, maybe got some weird kind of bumps all over his skin now.
Almost like an occasional Tourette's,
definitely
like tick with his head.
And perhaps walking with one leg at a time. Yeah, a little bit more jerky movement than normal as he struts around the house.
What the God are you guys doing here? Would you?
Oh my goodness. Hello, I am Dr. Clark. Nice to meet you, Brian.
Yeah, I don't need a doctor. I need nugs.
Yes, this is worse than I thought. And Brenda's
He's like, Brenda, what did you do? Why is this quack here?
Exactly. Brian, I love you. I love you so much. I want you to be huge and get your gains, and I'm worried that you're shitting all over our house and you may have a cloaca, and this is getting out of control. So
it's just from getting so big, Brenda. It's just, my body has to put everything in one hole to conserve room for muscles.
This is how it begins. But I must say, this transformation, he may be on the precipice of, and Brenda's like waiting for him to be like, oh my God, death, cancer, something. And then Dr. Cluck says, of greatness. And Brenda's like, what do you mean greatness? Like, I brought you here. He's shitting all over our house. He's morphing into like a weird, bumpy, bulbous guy.
He's kind of acting like a chicken,
right,
Dr.
He's
Cluck.
walking around, I think I heard him pecking at the wall last night while I was sleeping. And now he's making liquid chicken nugget juice. This isn't great. Like, this is, I think he's having a manic episode and probably needs to be sent to a hospital. Can you help us do this? And I feel like Dr. Cluck would try to calm Brenda down and reroute the scenario. Maybe he doesn't even need to. Maybe Brian is just like, you get it, Dr. Cluck. You see what's happening. The precipice of greatness. Brenda,
Once he said that, I think Brian was sold on Dr. Cluck. But I think you're painting a picture of Dr. Cluck,
yes,
the Lagerstein chiropractor in disguise, of a real doctor. The fencer's doctor, if you will.
That's exactly right. He trains all the other fencer's doctors.
Is Dr. Cluck more than meets the eye?
Yes, exactly. And so I think whether it's overt, it could be as simple as him saying, Brian, you have another Nugget Nectar. I would love to see you at the gym. I hear the gains are happening for you. I need to make one quick phone call. And he pops outside and pulls out like a flip phone with a extended
perfect
whatever.
Lagersound 3G.
Exactly right. Where is the satellite? He opens the phone up, dials a mysterious number, and someone picks up and says, yes, the order of a human excellence. Greta speaking. And Dr. Cluck just says, I think I have found him. And you hear Greta or on the other end go, and then he just hangs up. And so that's what we see as the audience, I think, is this moment where Dr. Cluck is confiding in someone who's part of the order
Greta.
of human excellence, right? Greta. That Brian may be more important than even Brian realizes right now. Certainly to whoever the hell these people are, actually, not chiropractors. Maybe there's something more.
Seems like a good moment. So I'm trying to see if this is a good moment to end Act 2. We've taken Brian from a gym rat chasing gains to a Nugget Nectar obsessed person that's looking for where does he go next? And now he's found this doctor that's telling him, I've got a super cool opportunity for you.
Yes. And I think like the last scene of Act 2 could even be, we see Greta in like an eggshell white hooded garment.
Perfect.
Hang up the phone and walk away from some weird altar looking thing. And behind it is this like motif of like a giant man and a giant chicken and things that maybe look like small chickens, and then an egg, a giant egg on a fire, and some kind of creature cracking out of that egg, surrounded by people in that white garment that Greta's wearing, praying, dancing, something. So clearly this order of human excellence believes in some powerful egg chicken creature being as being important to them, and that's kind of all we know, and that ends that act. So now Brian may be wrapped up in a whole bunch of foul play, John, that he's not ready for.
Out of the frying pan and into the fire.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. All right, let's get into Act 3 where things are going to get clucktastic.
Buckle up for Act 3.
Okay, so we've learned now about this altar of human excellence, and we've seen some of their artwork that paints a picture of this ancient order that seems like they believe humans and chickens are meant to intertwine and into you thought it was going to be cyborgs? No,
right, not
it's
today.
Chicken people.
Chicken people.
That's Welcome to Beer Me That Movie. So the doctor and Brian are going off to do some kind of experiments, maybe.
Exactly.
Or I imagine the doctor's gonna try. He's got to sell.
Right.
Brian might be the one. It's been a long time.
Exactly.
We're basically looking for Jesus' second coming.
Yes,
we just found a guy in Birkenstocks that looks a lot like him.
Right.
So let me, Brian, I must take you to our training grounds.
Exactly.
Where you will perform the test of
great strength.
Thank you.
And Brian's like, yep, I'm all about strength, I'm all about gains. Whatever you got, I'll do it. And he's and twitches a little bit and starts to shuffle in a jerking motion towards the door, and they get out of there. And so Brian's expecting a gym or an obstacle course or something, and instead what he sees is like they're in a barn. There's a bunch of corn all over the ground, and Brian kind of has a weird reaction to it. He's looking at it. He's cocking his head back and forth. He's starting to maybe wiggle his arms a bit as if they were wings. He's still getting bigger. He had a Nugget Nectar shake on the way, of course. And so Dr. Cluck's observing Brian as he sees all the corn on the ground, and is like, Brian, what does the corn on the ground make you want to do? And maybe even pitches it even deeper of like, in order to be your strongest self, you must look inside. And Brian's like, that's the gain. All right, the gains is mental. I can get in here.
Yeah.
I believe in this. That's the final level of the gains. I've got the Nugget Nectar. Now this guy's going to teach me how to do basically it's like gains Tai Chi.
Yes.
I'm going to get huge.
Did you know chickens are the strongest mammal in the animal kingdom? By weight. What?
I don't know.
I thought it was an orangutan. No, the chicken by pound is stronger than any other creatures.
Right. The pecking motion of a chicken is the strongest motion of any animal aside from the crocodile's jaws, of course. Brian, have you ever pecked corn off the ground before? And Brian's like, no, of course not. Would you like to try now? And at first Brian's like, no, I don't. Well, and then he kind of starts looking at the corn, twitching his head, looks around, and then almost uncontrollably just starts smashing his head on the ground and eating all this corn like a huge human chicken guy. And Dr. Cluck's just kind of smiling on the side, maybe noting some things down on a pad, maybe not. Maybe doing no doctor work at all. Just kind of laughing quietly to himself in the corner.
Smiling and nodding.
That's it, as Brian clears all the corn off the floor of this barn in minutes.
You have made a little poopy. I see it's a little runny. This is excellent. Human excellence.
It's all happening just as we predicted, just as been prophesized.
The doctor is tied in with this, we're going to say chicken cult.
Yes.
And now I think the doctor is grooming Brian to become more chicken-like.
Absolutely. So yeah, I think that's kind of, if we dive into their belief, I think it's they believe that their new chosen one will be born of a man, but come from an egg.
What came first?
The chicken or the egg. Well, maybe we'll find out tonight. But so yeah, so that's Dr. Cluck's plan, and the plan of the Order of Human Excellence is to create this chicken man who then will hopefully create this egg thing that will change the world. So he's pushing Brian to be more chicken like, and it's happening. Brian's leaning into it, and his brain and all the chicken in his blood.
He throws down a mixed pile of what looks like garbage, but there's like 5 shiny objects in there.
There we go.
Fetch me your favorite pieces.
And he starts collecting shiny bottle caps and paper clips and put him in a pile near Dr. Cluck's feet.
Yes, it is working.
It is working. The hormones in the corn will do even more than the hormones in the chicken. And so Dr. Cluck, Brian's fallen right into Dr. Cluck's master plan. And okay, so good Lord. Sorry. So what's gonna happen now? Does Brian stay there on this kind of farm? Does he?
No, Brian's on the nectar, right?
Yeah,
so
true.
He's done some experimenting, but these people don't make the nectar. They don't even. He's
That's
like,
true.
"Where are your nugs? Oh,
Right.
we don't have the nugs here. This is a train. Yes, I think I said training ground.
Yes.
But you are doing very well. Perhaps you are doing well enough for today. I need to get my nectar. I need to get my nectar.
Right.
And he just
I like that.
stops chickening, gets in the car, clucks his way back home.
Yes,
I don't know what he's listening.
No,
I wish I knew more about chickens, but
he's just listening to Old MacDonald Had a Farm the whole way home, and singing E-I-E-I-O between clucking. But I love this. The Dr. Cluck maybe didn't see this as part of his plan, that the corn would only satiate him for a little bit, even with the added hormones. He needs his nugget nectar. He's further along than anyone Dr. Cluck's ever come across before. Everything else has been a failure. All the other guys looking for gains that went down the nugget path.
Bob Tarvington was just eating chicken nuggets.
Exactly right.
Slowly.
It wasn't enough for us. We knew he'd never egg.
He never pecked.
He never pecked like you did. So Dr. Cluck is at the highest of highs, watching Brian peck through this whole barn full of corn, but then it's rug pulled from him as Brian's like, I gotta go home. I need my nugget nectar. I need to go hit the bag. Like, I'm not sure what this did for me. Thanks for your time, but like, I gotta get out of here. Nothing to worry about. See you later. I got things to do. Just blasting E-I-E-I-O as he zips down the highway and gets out of there.
So there's a weird thing I want to happen next.
Great.
So Brian goes home. Brenda, oh my God, what did they do to you? Are you okay? Yeah, I'm totally okay. They said I need to get some rest and I need to have more nugget nectar. So he just like, he makes himself a bottle of nectar and one to sleep with. And he's like, I'm going to bed. I'll see when you get to bed. I got to rest. I got a big day tomorrow. Lots of games. Brian drinks his nugget nectar on his way up to bed, goes up to the bedroom. Yes. And Brenda's like still lost in this research. She's like, I'm losing my boyfriend to this.
Yeah.
Pores over the research, can't find anything. She even stumbles across Bare Knuckles McTavish.
Oh yeah.
And all that stuff and how it's good for gains. Okay, whatever. She goes back up to bed finally into the bedroom and Brian's not there.
Yes.
She's like, what? Oh, where the hell? Maybe he's in the bathroom.
Right.
He doesn't use the bathroom anymore.
Right.
He just
goes wherever he wants.
Wherever he wants. There's a little light.
Okay.
There's a light coming from the closet.
And I think as she approaches it, maybe we can do a cut scene to like Dr. Cluck calling Greta and kind of give an update. And they're maybe freaking out because Brian left. And he's like, calm down. All of you must calm down. He had the corn. The corn had the key. It will happen. It will happen tonight.
Oh, we're going to the same place.
And so something else is in that corn that is hopefully doing something Dr. Cluck wants to have happen. So now we jump into Brenda approaching the closet. There's a light coming out from under the door. Brian, are you in there? Is everything okay? And she opens the door to see Brian. What's Brian doing? Something Brenda wasn't ready for. No human is ready to see what poor Brenda has to see Brian doing.
So Brian's got most of Brenda's clothes torn off of the hangers.
Yes, of
and
course.
he's created a little bit of a roosting nest situation
Yeah,
on
he has a nest.
the floor of the
100%
closet.
has a nest on the ground.
And anyone that's ever chefed before probably encountered there's more than just chicken eggs. You've seen maybe at some point you've actually seen even on the internet an ostrich egg.
Yes. Whole Foods used to sell them.
Brian, they're waste. Don't do them. They're such a waste. Brian is sitting on what appears to be a basketball size chicken egg.
Maybe even bigger than that.
And there's some maybe even like some bloody junk.
Oh,
that's
for sure.
Like a human isn't designed to. I don't care what kind of porn you watch. A human isn't designed to get rid of something that big
Even
in
with
a hard shell.
Brian-sized cloaca that he has now.
It made it a little easier.
For sure. He needed that to happen first. Otherwise, this egg would have killed him. But now he's just kind of clucking quietly, staring at the wall.
Almost cooing, yeah.
I was going to say, and Brian, maybe at this point, with all the nugget nectar or whatever the hell was in that corn, he's kind of, maybe it appears to Brenda past the point of no return. It's more clucking than talking. Maybe even as she comes in there, she sees the egg and she's like, oh my God, is that what I think it is? And then at that same moment, as Brian clucks around, she looks at him and sees like what looked like almost feathers coming out of his like shoulder blades a little bit. And then he freaks out, sees Brenda, becomes defensive of the egg immediately. And Brenda's like, oh my God, walks back, shuts the door, falls over the bed, and like runs out of the house. Like she's speechless. She can't believe this.
I think my boyfriend just had an egg.
Exactly.
And is sort of turning into a chicken.
And so in a moment of panic, really like the only thing she can think of, I can't call the cops, fire department, that's useless. Like
animal control,
right? But they're all high, chasing a rabbit somewhere on the other side of town. I guess I'll call Dr. Cluck. I don't know what happened there. Brian came home, but I never found out what they did together, he learned. I'll call Dr. Cluck, not realizing that, of course, Dr. Cluck is not at all who he appears to be.
A doctor.
A doctor interested in helping Brian. He's after whatever the order of human excellence is. And so calls him and he's like, thank God, I know where he is. He's home. And he calms down Brenda. Yes, of course, this is it. This is the Nugget Nectar's final gift. Stay there. I'll be there immediately. I'm rushing. And so
I thought you were Lagerstranian.
Right.
No, rushing, not Russian.
Right. We hate the Russians. And so she's like, oh, okay, what do I do? Just wait there, stay away from him, but make sure he doesn't leave. And do whatever you do, don't touch the egg. And so cool. Dr. Cluck's running there, and maybe Brenda's again like pacing, freaking out on the bottom floor of their house, just listening as Brian's kind of creaking in the floor of the attic, clucking and cooing a little bit. So she knows he's still here. But she's again freaking out to the nth degree. And Dr. Cluck shows up, but he's not alone. He's got a crew of Greta's there and other people in these weird eggshell white hooded garments. And as he walks in, he goes, I'm sure Brian is upstairs. And this group of people starts clucking, cluck, 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 as they start walking up to Brenda and Brian's bedroom. Brenda's like,
beautiful scene that would be like a Wes Anderson movie.
Or like a Stanley Kubrick movie.
Yeah.
Like fucking the terrifying, creepy, clucking people enter Brenda's house. Maybe two of them even grab her and like tie her up or something, as Dr. Cluck just smiles and lights his pipe or cigar, whatever creepy thing he's gonna start smoking now. And
corncob pipe,
perfect. Of course it's corn. It's either corn or nuggets for these guys, or eggs. And so the group kind of goes upstairs, finds Brian, and I think it's very quickly opens the door. Dr. Cluck smiles, takes a draw of his pipe and goes, aha, there it is. the thing that will change the world.
We've been waiting for this for 2,000 years.
And now it is ours. And Brian's super jacked, but also probably like at his weakest, just giving birth to this weird egg. And there's 6-7 people there, maybe even more.
Throw some corn on the floor.
There we go. That's it. Perfect. So don't have to worry about fighting super jacked giant Brian. Just throw some more of that corn he's hooked on now to in front of him and grab that egg. And that's exactly what Dr. Cluck and the Order of the Human Excellence do. And make out with it. They make off with it. They grab the egg and they escape into the night. And
so we introduced Dr. Cluck to fix this situation, and he's made it inextricably worse.
Right.
And Brian is sounding like he's near full chicken.
Absolutely
He's definitely becoming chicken-like.
Yes.
I almost, at this point, I feel Brenda is the saddest story in this story so far. Like, Brenda has to, was that technically her son?
She's got
Did this cult just come steal kind of what could have been her son, or is it just going to turn into an omelet at a hotel breakfast bar?
Right. Is this just the best drop off that some Waffle House ever gets for their egg order, or is this
some Michelin star restaurant in Chicago has a $5,000 order in for that egg?
Right. So Brenda's distraught for many reasons. Brian, maybe she made an egg with Brian. Brian's not doing well. Dr. Cluck lied to her. There's nowhere else to turn. You're right. Good call out that Brenda's going through it right now. And she's been kidnapped in her own house and tied up to a chair.
By more chicken people.
Exactly. And she's just freaking the fuck out. But I imagine she'll knock the chair over, break out of her restraints, get up to see Brian just smacking his head on the ground in their bedroom, eating all this corn. And she goes up and maybe smacks Brian. And it's like, Brian, I know you're in there. You've got to come out. They've taken our egg. They've taken the egg.
What? What are you?
Yes,
kind of
exactly.
Like the little bit of human that remains in Brian is kind of shot forefront. He's lost his egg. I assume chickens aren't very protective of their eggs because we eat a lot of them, but human chickens are different.
Yeah, this is whatever Brian is. Yeah.
Brian made that egg and went through a lot of pain to present it.
Right.
So this in the movie, I think, is just like a probably the come to Jesus moment.
Yes.
For Brenda and Brian. Like, yes. Brenda needs to decide. Really, you should have left, Brenda. You should have left.
Yes, right. But you're in it now.
Are we going to go get our son, or are we going to try and run and find a hospital that can de-chickenify you? Like, right. But I feel like this is the moment where Brenda really, she jumps the shark. She's like, you know what, Brian? You've got the most gains of any human ever. You've went through so much to get it, and they just took your egg. What can you do to get it back? Like, I want you to go get our son.
Exactly. I love this. So Brenda's like, right. She's kind of come full circle. She's accepted what's happened to her. Now she's invested in this egg and Brian's having this moment of clarity, of human-like clarity, where he's pulling out of his chicken brain a little bit back into his human brain. And they have this conversation. Do we abandon this egg, or do we go, I guess, full chicken and save his unhatched egg son or daughter? We don't know, or creature. It could be any or something else. And I think it'd be fun if, like, you know, Brenda, being the loyal partner that she is, Brian and her kind of lock eyes, and it's, you know, no egg left behind, or whatever they say. Like, this is our egg.
This isn't a school program.
Right. So they're united in this. They've decided Brian's got to go save this egg. We can't let a creepy Dr. Cluck and the weird Order of the Human Excellence do whatever the heck they're going to do with it.
So they found their commitment.
Yeah.
And in an act of unity,
yes.
Brenda will drive the car because Brian's not really that equipped to drive a car in his chicken condition.
No way. And he's still got, like, I think, like, more feathers. His face is changing. Maybe like Bill's shape, like he's got a kind of a pecker or whatever the fuck it's called.
I think, is it beak?
Beak.
Yeah. a new muscle to work.
There we go.
His jaw's reshaping a little bit.
He's changing color.
But Brenda's like, come with me. We got to go get our egg and see if it's going to hatch. And this is just, she gets in the car. Brian gets in the car. Brian's installed an AC converter in the car,
of course,
so that he can run the Popeil Mixmaster
100%.
3000. So Brenda gets in there and she's like, hold on, I'll be right back. She runs and she grabs the Mixmaster 3000 and a big old handful of chicken nugs.
Yep.
And she's like, mix yourself up some super strong nugget nectar. We're going to need it for this showdown. And she puts a little bit of sweet and sour sauce in the nugget nectar. This is the best. If you've eaten chicken nuggets, you understand what I'm talking about.
Sweet and sour is the ultimate answer, and maybe also the ultimate ingredient. Like Brian, obviously earlier, was playing mad scientist in the kitchen, trying to figure out how do I get the nuggets into my blood faster. He was trying more nuggets. The sugar is what sends it to your blood. In the sweet and sour sauce, John.
A vehicle for the vehicle.
So she's fired that in there, dumped 1,000 nuggets or 100 into this blender. And they're ripping down the road, and he's just chugging and clucking and cooing this nugget nectar down.
Just gurgling. Shit. Not even strange.
Bigger
just
and bigger. The feathers are fully forming on his arms now. His face has changed as he kind of cluck laughs as they fly up into the night in their Honda hatchback.
Of course. It's the car of Beer Me That Movie.
It is the car of Beer Me That Movie.
And I think in that point in the movie, it's like you cut to this candlelit barn coop.
Oh, yeah.
Where Brian was doing his training exercises. There's the egg sitting like underneath this ornate shaped stone candelabra sort of thing with the candles warming it to simulate a real chicken mother.
Yes, of course.
And you might even see a little like crack start to form. And as soon as just because the movie, as soon as you see that crack, like you hear like a tick tick crack and the eggs start, and the chanters or the excellence order is chanting and then clucking.
Yes.
And then the light comes in and the door busts open and it's full clucked out Chicken Brian.
Exactly right. Huge chicken Brian, full covered in white feathers. He's got a weird red hair flap happening as well.
Yeah, he's got the chicken face. What is there? Chicken spike?
Yeah.
Chicken hair
comb?
spike?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I think it is a comb.
Okay. And so he's shows up, busts down the side of the front door of the barn, and the Order of Human Excellence they're probably a mixture of like awe.
For sure.
The human egg. He has graced us with his presence. He is here to watch.
The egg bearer.
The egg bearer has returned. But obviously Brian's pissed off. But the egg is hatching. So this is all happening instantly. There's the crew of creepy people in the cloaks and the capes around the egg. Dr. Cluck's there. Brian busts down the door just as the egg begins to crack. And Brian's angry. He's filled with just sodium chicken rage and sweet and sour sauce now. And lets out maybe almost like a velociraptor type cluck, some kind of crazy noise. But and then is about to maybe attack them all, but then hears the crack of the egg again and kind of freezes his instinct as the mother of this egg.
Yeah, it's getting weird. Yeah.
It's like, and just looks at his unborn egg child as it begins to emerge into the world, as is everyone in this creepy order, all staring at the egg. The camera's locked in on it. The crack is starting to wiggle. Maybe the top of the egg is starting to come off. And this is the moment they've all been waiting for. Brian, Brenda.
Thousands of years of human excellence.
Exactly right. Generation upon generation have died. Found failures at this boxing gym. Nothing's ever worked. Countless people have given their lives to find the one, the egg son, the one that will bring them glory and whatever the fuck.
Human excellence.
Forever.
The next evolution of our species.
We will save the world. We failed once. We will not fail again.
A hushed coo hums across the order as the eggshell cracks open. You see, at first you can't tell because they're hidden in shadows, but then as the eggshell begins to get ripped apart, you see inside human hands it's no
Jacked
bigger
human hands.
no bigger than the size of a basketball, but these jacked human hands full of muscle are ripping apart this strong egg shell,
Yes.
at which point you see John Cena hatched from the egg.
A tiny, super jacked, oily, smells like fry oil John Cena pops out of there. And the cult, I think, is shocked. Dr. Cluck is, I guess they're probably all expecting a half human, half chicken, some kind of baby, maybe. They could,
The parchments never said what it would look like.
Right, exactly. This was a mystery.
It is human perfection.
And they're all kind of in awe and shock, all this stuff. Brian's full chicken, so he's probably not processing this correctly at all. But John Cena, he's not messing around. And I think his mission is immediately clear of like, well, I got to kill all these weird cult people, and I got to find my dad/mom/chicken guy. And we got things to do.
Dad, mom, chicken.
And so I'm imagining some amazing kind of Dr. Cluck approaching and being like, welcome, your return has been prophesized. Does he know that he's John Cena? Does he address him as John Cena?
Smallish, tiny. You look a lot like John Cena, but in smaller, but more perfection than John Cena.
Yes, more
And then we've been waiting for you for thousands of years. The day is finally. And John Cena just throws it up.
Yep.
You can't see me.
He's out, and he becomes invisible to everyone except for maybe Brian. And then he invisibly is going around beating the crap out of this entire cult. Brian kind of wakes up.
Like the death scene in Quiet Legends.
Yeah, okay. Exactly. I
But
love
bloodier.
it. Much bloodier. Going around, just making it rain. And Brian comes too. He's super jacked. He starts smashing cult leaders together. And it's just this mayhem, this awesome dual battle of John Cena and Brian taking down all these cult folks. It's a great action scene.
mini John Cena.
John Cena kind of running up Brian's back and doing a bicycle kick into someone's head. Brian's shielding him with his wings and then stepping on people with his weird chicken feet, shoving them in his cloaca, all the cool stuff you're imagining. And, it makes quick work of all these cult people. Even Dr. Cluck. And maybe it's a fun showdown where Brian, pecks Dr. Cluck to death or whatever as John Cena watches and cackles in a small, creepy John Cena baby.
Yeah, it would be a higher
voice.
octave
Yeah.
John Cena voice, but
That's okay.
still the John Cena that you know.
Exactly. And so there's this bloodbath full of chicken feathers and corn and cloaca juice and, and John Cena laughs. And when the feathers settle, it's just Brian and John Cena alive in a room full of dead cult people. And they've kind of done it, or at least done this first step.
Who the hell knows what the goal is here? We turned Brian into a chicken, made him hatch John Cena, and then we killed the cult that foresaw this and helped us get here with the corn.
Yep.
So bloodbath in Cult Town. John Cena was the human excellence.
If you guess John Cena's going to be in this egg, please let us know because we'll probably owe you something. Oh, man.
And effective. Okay, so we got through Nugget Nectar.
We did.
Let's put a quick little bow on it.
Yeah, I mean, it could be I was going to say simple, but nothing simple at this point. But as straightforward as John Cena maybe he is the chosen one. He's come, but not for humans. For chickens. He's here to free the chickens.
Ooh, that's perfect.
Exactly. And so he kind of leans into Brian and is like, you know why I'm here, you know what must happen. And Brian, who's still full chicken man, is maybe, I almost imagine him kind of like the Hulk, or when he's not getting gains and beating the crap out of a bag of people, he kind of becomes a human a bit again and calms down and can,
when the rage dies down.
Right. Understand some logic and reason. So that's happening with Brian. And John Cena's like, we must free your brothers and sisters. The Nuggets are too powerful. No one else can hold this power ever again.
There can only be one mini John Cena, hatched of a man.
Chicken man. And yeah, the kind of bow on it is, it could just be like them walk in slow-mo walking away from a bunch of factory farms on fire as chickens kind of fly and run away into the darkness, but they're going to free all the chickens. Chickens as food is no more on planet Earth because of the power of the chicken nugget. Instead of killing them all and hiding the power that way, they decide to release all the chickens and free them to be wild chickens, and make sure nuggets
protected
never
and
happen
pastured
again. Exactly.
by human perfection, which is mini John Cena.
Yes.
And protected by Chicken Brian.
Chicken Brian. And it could end like that. We could tie it up another way.
John Cena stumbles across a mini sexy nun and he's like, wait, what universe is this?
and then they make an egg together.
You can see me.
I see everything, John Cena.
Oh, well, not that one time I was alone. My parents were out of town.
Oh my God. Yes, but they free the chickens of the world. No one could ever have a nugget again. And that's probably good enough to end it there with mini John Cena and Brian and Brenda living happily ever after as a family. I can see Brian becoming kind of a human again, because obviously nuggets are out of his life. He's found balance. He's found another meaning. It's not about gains. It's about family. It's about little John Cena and Brenda.
But I need to do the chicken so I can have more eggs. No, Brian. We're going to try and have human babies,
right,
from the human way.
We're not
she
sure
sells him on eating a salad.
Okay.
Maybe eventually the chicken gets out of his system and he's able to come back with, still like years later at John Cena's mini graduation from mini people college. He gets married and they throw rice at the wedding,
right.
and Brian's a little he's a little distracted
right.
there.
Brian, right.
Stay with me, Brian. Stay with me, Brian.
Look at the salad.
Kale.
I love it. And yeah, John Cena and Brian and Brenda live happily ever after. A world without chicken nuggets, but a world again with family, with a future not full of chicken men potentially becoming too powerful and ruining the world.
True.
One chicken man was enough.
Could have been the end of humanity and the beginning of John Cena
land.
Chicken people. I bet you didn't think that was going to happen when you submitted Nugget Nectar, Brian.
But it did.
Hopefully you can justify that. Remember, it's all make believe. So, you are not actually a chicken person, but maybe be careful when you go pick up nuggets after listening to this one.
That's right. Listen to your gut. Don't have 2 or 3 or 4 more. Give yourself a minute. You might be full.
I'm going to get a 20-piece right now.
I know. John's knee-deep. Going to be knee-deep in nuggets soon.
Yep, this episode's going to come out late because I was eating chicken nuggets instead of editing.
Oh, my God. All right. So we did it, John. We zipped through Nugget Nectar. Zipped through might be an overstatement. But had a blast as always. So yes, thank you, Brian, for that. Thank you, John Cena, for all the AI madness we've done with your face. If you watched this episode, and
remember to tune in next week. Whoops, that's the second stroke I've had in 2 weeks. Remember to tune in next week where we're going to look at Fast 5 and we're going to turn them all into one feature film thanks to a challenge from Greg last week. Again, next week, our 25th Fast 5, all 5 beers are going to make it into one feature disaster.
Exactly right. You don't want to miss this car wreck. So hang tight. And until then,
peace.
Punch.
I'm going to get some nuggets.